AmericanStandardAir.com.
Welcome to the Treehouse of Love. We're live. Join the conversation at 512-836-0590. Now, here are Todd and Don.
707 Todd Jeffries, along with Don Pryor.
Good morning.
We do it every day at this time, right about now. It's your daily dossier. It's the top 5 stories you need to know about before you get to the cubicle in your office. Iran's foreign ministry has warned the United States over violating Iranian airspace after the Revolutionary Guard shot down one of our drones earlier in the day. They say it was in Iranian airspace, but the United States says, it was in international airspace, and that drone cost $180 million, and the Iranians this morning say, okay, we're ready for war. We'll have more on that coming up in just a few minutes. Also in the dossier, today the Austin City Council will vote on an ordinance which would change both the city's ban on sitting and lying or camping in public spaces. In addition to changing the city's ban on panhandling, council members behind this resolution believe it will reduce the criminal charges that people face just for being homeless. But the downtown business community, they don't like this idea at all. Also in the daily dossier, most road rage incidents in Austin this year involved guns. And according to police, in these cases, suspects are charged with aggravated assault. That's a felony that can carry up to 20 years in prison instead of reckless driving. Yeah, the Austin Police Department is bringing attention to what it considers a public safety issue concerning drivers. And since January of this year, there have been at least 45 road rage incidents on Austin roads involving a gun. And only about 9 of them have actually been charged with anything. The others, it's just too difficult to find them.
Dang.
Also today, the Austin City Council will likely vote to add 400 Lake Austin properties to the tax roll, which have been exempt from property taxes for generations. According to the Statesman's analysis of police response times in that area, it took officers nearly twice as long to respond last year in other areas. Yeah, those supports arguments that made by property owners who say they don't receive the same level of service and thus should not be taxed the same way. That's something the city council is going to vote on later today. Also in the dossier, there's a poll out this morning that shows most Americans are not keen on the idea of returning to the moon or even going to Mars. Yeah, the poll by the Associated Press, it finds that most Americans prefer that space program focus on potential asteroid impacts and scientific research into the cosmos. Only 1 in 4 think exploring the moon or Mars should be among the space program's highest priorities. Astronauts first reached the moon 50 years ago this summer. Now you're up to date in the Daily Dossier, and it's on the front page of our website at newsradioklbj.com.
Well, that's, you know what, even back in the 60s when we were going to the moon, or that was the goal, this argument's always been there. Always there. There's always been those that oppose space travel at all as far as humans go.
Well, I don't think these people are opposed to space travel.
No.
They're just saying, hey, it's kind of a waste of time to go to the moon, and there's really no need to go to Mars. Continue exploring space into the cosmos, but it's not one of the top priorities for folks.
I can understand. I can kind of understand the argument about humans returning to men or women returning to the moon. However, I think we should continue to explore the moon. Whether it's maybe it's just with drones or whatever, but we need to do that.
Now, listen, I know it sounds like a broken record, but this issue of repealing these homeless ordinances is, it's going to be a reality today. Today is the day that business owners in the entertainment district are sitting on the edge of their seats, trying to determine if these ordinances are going to be repealed.
Yeah,
it's a pretty controversial. All of this is very controversial. Just as the city moves forward today as well with building a new homeless shelter to the tune of $8.6 million.
The item council is looking at has been changed since a vote on it was postponed earlier this month. If what's on the table now passes, Austin police will only be allowed to arrest or ticket someone who is soliciting, camping, sitting, or lying in a public area if they present a public health or safety hazard. Proponents of this change say ticketing under the current rule starts a cycle that can prevent homeless individuals from getting housing or jobs.
And by changing those laws, we can better enhance health and safety, we can better fit within the U.S. Constitution, and we can get people in homes instead of in handcuffs.
But Downtown Austin Alliance says they still don't support it and are hoping the vote gets delayed again.
We could have a process that really helps everyone feel like we're working on solutions rather than rushing things and creating policy that in the end doesn't offer solutions.
We spoke to someone who lives out of an RV in Austin who believes the changes council is looking at will help her out. She says she's been living out of this camper for 3 years because she can't afford housing otherwise. But a few weeks back, police told her she had to leave the camper. So she's been sleeping at bus stops. In her view, the current ordinance doesn't account for people like her.
Those changes would allow us to go back to our regularly scheduled lives. We could go back to work. We could go back to working on our little startup. We could go back to everything that we're doing, solving our own problems.
Alyssa Gord, KXAN News.
There you go. It is 7:12. Love to get your reaction on all of this at 512-836-0590.
I wonder what that person that's been living in the camper for 3 years is doing for themselves as far as trying to correct why they're homeless to begin with. Anything about that? I mean, it's all of a sudden like we're responsible for it, and we've got to figure out what we do with that person. And I think Kassar is absolutely delusional as far as thinking that any of this is going to lead to housing for some of these homeless people. That's really pie in the sky stuff. That's a wonderful thought. But that's not the problem. What's going on right now is not the reason why these people aren't getting in houses.
Listen, there's a new study that shows how much you need to make hourly if you want to rent a 2-bedroom home right here in the Austin area. And as you know, Austin is earning the nickname the San Francisco of Texas. We'll dive into the numbers coming up at 7:20, and you can join us in the conversation in anything you've heard today at 512-836-0590.
The Todd and Don Show.